Friday, the 12th of February. Getting almost to the weekend. A cold one, and maybe be the last time we'll be in the studio for a few days, depending on what happens with our weather here. But big winter storm coming in, so let's get comfortable. And you know, if you're home and you need to sit up on a blanket, do. Let your eyes close. Let yourself sit comfortably for your hips. And just close your eyes very gently, letting your eyes gently close, starting to be aware of feeling your breath coming in and going out through your nose. So if you can, just imagine the breath is coming in and out through both sides of your nose equally. Start to let your torso circle around a little bit. It can be a very small circle. Exhaling as you come forward, inhaling as you come back to circle around. And just take your time. You can get bigger and bigger with these circles, or you can keep them very small. Stop in reverse and go the other direction. So as you easily start to come off to the other direction, again, let your breath be what moves you, however big you want to make these circles. Feeling that shift to the front, to one side, and back a little bit, and then to the other sitting bone. Finish off, let yourself come on back up to center. And now, everybody looks pretty close. Get your blocks, bring your blocks right in close beside you to the lowest height so that you can have your hands on the blocks right underneath your shoulders here. And I sometimes like to let my fingers hang over the edge of the block. Sometimes I like to have my whole hand on the block, but we're going to think of lifting up from here. So as you exhale, you draw your navel towards your spine, curl your tailbone forward, and then press into the blocks. Lift your hips up off the floor. Now you can bend your elbows a little bit if you want. A little bit for the triceps there, not going all the way back down, but just a little bit down. And then release to come on back down to the floor. And let's take our left block and slide it out farther away from us here. Keep your left hand on it. And then we'll inhale the right arm all the way up and go on over into side stretch here. Breathing into that right side. And letting the block just give you a little support there. Feel okay in that left under shoulder there. And now as you exhale, turn to face the floor. Now if you can, lower your right fingertips all the way down to the floor. Maybe coming a little deeper over that left thigh. If you can't go that far, don't. And then we'll come on back into that side stretch, letting yourself release out. And then as you come back up, bring that block back on with you, so it'll be underneath you again, and we're going to switch. We're going to slide the right block out, again, pretty far. Bring the left arm up and over the top, coming into that side stretch. So you're actually feeling length through the underside of the body as well with the block there. Breathing into your left ribs. And now, as you turn to face the floor, again, only go as far as you can. If that left hand can come all the way down and your fingertips can come to the floor, maybe you can fold a little more over that right outer thigh there. And just breathe. And then we'll come on back into the side stretch, opening up to the front. And let's rise on back up. And again, bring your blocks on with you here now. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. And we're going to switch the cross of our legs. So stretch your legs out. If you can bring your other leg in front, do it. You can do this with your legs long. So if crossing your legs doesn't feel good for you. Now again, we're going to get the blocks to a place where we can exhale, draw our navel towards our spine, curl the tailbone a little bit forward, and then we're going to lift up. So again, you can bend your elbows a little bit, do little tricep push-ups if you choose to. Keep your belly strong. And then we'll release. We'll come on back down. And now bring your blocks forward of you here. And you can turn them any way you want to, but think about coming forward. Either your hands on the blocks to give you a little support there, or you might want to come forward onto your forearms. It really depends on you in this forward bend. And some of you might even feel good to like switch your blocks so you can put your head down on your block. Or stacked up blocks, right? They can be up high. You can put your head down on your blocks up higher. So just be mindful. Don't do anything that bothers your back. Feel the outside edges of your feet gently pressing into the floor just a little bit, activating up into your hips. Good. And then we're going to rise all the way on back up. You can bring your blocks on back beside you, and let's stretch our legs out here. So bring your legs on out, flex and point your feet a little bit. Let yourself just take your time and feel the backs of the legs when you flex, and let yourself feel the thighs engage when you point, and feel that nice stretch in the tops of your feet too. Good. And then let the feet circle around. See if you can keep your legs still and really isolate feet and ankles. So you're trying to keep your knees facing up, right? And then we'll reverse. Doesn't matter whether they're going the same direction or opposite directions. That's up to you. And then shake out a little bit. Move on around. We're going to come around towards our hands and knees here now. So if you know you need to have a blanket underneath your knees, by all means get it. And if you'd rather have something under your hands, or you'd rather come down to your forearms, by all means do that. So that you can very easily focus on that cat-cow movement through the spine. So you're not distracted, like if your hands are bothering you, your wrists are bothering you, switch to something that makes them comfortable so you can really focus on that movement through your spine. Easily flowing through. Good. And then finish the one you're on so that you can just make your way to neutral spine now. And let's bring our left arm up in the air, straight out from our shoulder. You can turn to look at your hand there. It's not forward of you, it's straight to the side. And then maybe you can lift your arm up higher. That's up to you. If it feels good to open your shoulder that much, do. And then we're going to thread the needle, bringing that left hand on down behind the right wrist and coming on down onto your left side of your head, right? Now you can turn your left palm up or down. You can keep your right hand in front of your face there, or you can stretch that right arm out overhead if it feels better for you in your shoulder. So just breathe, release that space between the shoulder blades on your back. Feel the breath coming into that space. And then we'll bring our right hand by our face if it's not already, so we can press right on back up to all fours. Get your hands situated. And then right arm's going to float up. Again, it parallel to the floor if you want. You can rise it all the way up towards the ceiling if you want. Hand reaching up towards the ceiling if it feels good to your shoulder. One more breath. And on the exhale, we're going to thread the needle. Again, that right arm comes under and through and bringing yourself down onto the right side of your head, the shoulder, right shoulder there. You know, adjust how you need. Left hand can stay there in front of your face. You can reach the arm long overhead. You know, you might even feel better to put the hand up on your back. All right, just play a little bit. One more breath. And then bring your left hand on back by your face. We're going to press our way on up from here. And let yourself come through one more cat-cow. Just let that ease happen of the tailbone initiating. And then come to neutral, curl our toes under. We're going to lift our knees up and reach on back into a down dog. So as you do, take your time, bend both your knees or walk your dog if you need to. Spread your fingers wide, feel your elbows hugging towards each other. And really, imagine for a second that you're yawning with your whole body. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to lower our knees back down. We're going to step our left foot forward. Now keep your right knee down for a second. You can grab blocks for under your hands if you want. And shift your hips forward just a little bit, just so you come into opening the front of the right hip. Press into the top of the foot back there. So you're engaged. Feel your quad engaged as you press into the top of the toes. Good, and now we are going to lift the back knee up. So we're going to curl our toes under and come on up into lunge. So if you need to adjust the height of your blocks, by all means do. And then see from here if you can straighten your left knee out a little, let your right heel descend directly back behind you. So don't try to put your right heel on the floor, right? It might be on the floor, but don't force anything. Just let yourself feel the heel reaching directly back. So you get a little more into the back of that right leg, particularly your calf. Good, and then we're going to bend that left knee, come on back into lunge. And then we're going to bring the left foot back and bring the right foot forward and lower the left knee down to the mat now. And come on to the top of the left toes, pressing into the top of the toes. So really feeling your quad engaged. And, you know, you shift your way forward only as much as feels good for you. Just keep support there. Let yourself just open up. Good, and then hands on the blocks again if you prefer. Lift that back knee on up and find your lunge. Press the feet gently away from each other. Engage your belly. Reach that heel. You might want to look at your left heel. Make sure it's reaching directly behind your foot. So that when you do straighten that right knee out, the left heel just continues directly backwards, not hiking inward. Letting yourself come into the backs of the legs here. Good, and then we're going to bend the right knee again, finding lunge. And then step forward from here and come on into standing forward bend. So take your time. Use whatever you need for support. Elbows above your knees, hands on your blocks. Whatever feels good to you, your back. Knees can be bent, remember. Let your head move around a little bit. And just enjoy being with your breath. Soft through the face, release through your jaw. And And we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and press into our feet and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So shifting your way if you need to into your mountain pose, adjust whatever you need to adjust and get comfortable there, get easy between your feet. Lift your elbows up for a second, press your hands gently together, and actually, let's circle our hands once. Keep them together. Let your fingertips come forward, and then just roll to the backs of the hands coming together. Keep on rolling through there so you keep connected. Let the hands circle 3 or 4 more times, just letting yourself release here. You're not pressing hard, but you're keeping that connection through your hands. Now, when you're ready to reverse the circle, just stop wherever you want and let the circles come the other way. And the next time you come palm to palm, letting your hands connect there at your heart, let yourself stay there. Bring your gaze on out, whether your eyes are opened or closed. Feel your weight equal between your feet here and front to back. So if you need to shift a little of the balls of the feet and then back a little of the heels till you find that middle place that feels just perfect. And enjoy simply standing in that mountain pose, feeling that quiet strength. Kind of imagine you're drawing energy up from the ground. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. And inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we'll bend our knees as we come forward into standing forward bend. On your next inhale, find a nice long back, lengthen out. And we'll step the right foot back to come into lunge here. And inhale, exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers wide, reach back equally through the sitting bones. Walk if you need to walk. Enjoy coming into that dog. Feel the whole body here. In fact, see if you can imagine you're pressing your feet away from each other like you're trying to widen your mat. At the same time, hug your elbows in towards each other. So you're activated very deeply into your shoulders and your hips. And on the next inhale, we'll come out to plank. Nice and strong plank. Engage the belly. And let's put our knees down and then lower down to the mat. Elbows right by the ribs. Different here. Come into just a little cobra. Just lift up. Let your back lift you up a little bit. Don't press into your hands. And then come back down. Now bend your knees. Your head's down. Your chest is down. Bend your knees. Flex your feet. And now see if you can press up to a half push-up, all the way up into where you're on the flesh above your knees. Engage your belly. Good. And now we're going to shift back towards pose of a child. You don't have to go all the way. Let your big toes come together, heels apart. Shift on back. Now just for fun, come forward again back to that half plank. Lifting your feet up, coming onto the flesh above your knees. And do a little push-up. Bend your elbows a little bit, come down towards the ground, then come back up. And then again, one more little push-up. Elbows in towards the ribs and back up. And then shift back in towards your child's pose again. And then from here, we're going to shift to all fours, curl our toes under, and come back into downward facing dog pose. Walk a little bit if you need to. Move around, whatever feels good. And this time the right foot will come forward to find lunge. And then our left foot will come forward into standing forward bend. Full deep breaths, whatever support you need. If you like holding your elbows and that doesn't bother your back, you can do that. Or anywhere else your hands want to go. One more full deep breath here. And then releasing your arms. Let them be like wings as you press into your feet. Inhale your arms out and up overhead. Once they get up there, bend your elbows. See if you can hold your elbows. If not, you can hold more towards your wrist or your hands. And then just lean over to the left a little bit. Reach up through that right elbow. See if you can find a little more through the side body. And then we'll come back up to the top and we're going to go the other way. So reaching up through that left elbow, feel that nice sideways stretch. And then we'll come on back up to the top again. And let's unfold our arms out, up, overhead. You can look up if you choose. Inhale. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come back forward into your standing forward bend. Inhale into that light, nice, long, flat back, wherever you want your hands to help you do that. And this time, left foot comes back into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. And let your inhale bring you to your plank. And we're going to lower down however you want. Knees first or through a full push-up if you'd rather. And we'll come into that little cobra again. Now, if you choose to go up higher, go right on. If not, stay low. Elbows hugging in. And then we'll release to come on back down. We're going to make our way back to down dog again through half or full push-up or back to your hands and knees and back to dog. And this time, left foot comes forward to find that lunge. And then we'll come back into standing forward bend. Right to your breaths. See if you can think the word so when you inhale. And the word hum when you exhale. So inhaling so. Exhaling hum. Letting the breaths even out. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to press into our feet and rise on up. And inhale our arms out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms. Bring our hands behind us. Clasp your hands. Interlace your fingers here. And take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come on forward. Now, if you need to stay parallel to the floor, do. If you feel fine to fall forward over your legs, what your arms do is up to you. They can stay down or they can come up off your back. Feel the feet in the floor now. Bend your knees a little bit and imagine you're trying to make your mat wider with your feet. Inner thighs melting backwards. Feeling the outer hips here. One more breath. And then release your arms on down. Let your next inhale help you find that long back. And we'll step the right foot back to lunge. Moving with our breath here now. Inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank. Your exhale lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. And exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up all the way to the top. And on the exhale, we'll come forward again. Let your inhale lengthen your spine. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward dog. Inhaling out to your plank. And let your exhale lower you down. And the inhale brings you to your cobra. Exhale, back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale to your standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way back up. And on the exhale, coming forward again. Inhale into that long back. We're going to come to down dog. So place your hands, walk or jump back. Wiggle around a little bit if you want to. Wag your tail. Bend both your knees. You might even want to look at your hands. Make sure you're even in your hands there. Really feel the hands equally into the floor. Elbows hug in. And from here, we'll bring our left foot forward. We're coming up for warrior two. So have your blocks handy just in case you want them. Line up your heels. Let yourself be really mindful of that front knee coming right out over the center of the foot. And then from here, keep your left hand just down on the top of your left thigh there and rise your right arm up overhead. So the palm turns in towards the midline of your body. Now, as we start to lower that right arm back behind us, we're going to turn to look back. And turn the palm down as you start to get into your Warrior Two arm back there. So reaching out through the fingertips. Now, think about releasing that left arm, starting to float in, but try to coincide your gaze coming back around to that arm being right where you need it to be to look right out over the top of your hand as you get back with your head around. And feel the feet in the floor here. Reach equally out through both sets of fingertips. And enjoy the power, the strength of your Warrior Two. And we're going to bring that right arm down and fold the arm behind you if you can. Turn your left palm up and inhale. Reach up towards the sky. Let yourself feel the breath coming into the left ribs. Good. One more inhale. And on your exhale, come into your side angle. Now, hand or forearm onto that thigh. You can keep your right hand behind you for a second. Turn your palm out back there. Press into your forearm. Draw your outer left hip back a little bit. Good. And now lie your right arm just right down alongside your body, like it's just laying on the side of your body, hand on the outer thigh there. And then just trail that right hand up by your ribs, in front of your shoulder, by your ear. Extend the arm long. Now, if this bothers your shoulder, don't do it. Feel that sense of the outer left hip drawing back as you press into that left hand or forearm. Good. One more breath. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two. Press those feet away from each other as we come. Soft shoulders, long arms here. We'll bring our hands down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. And we're going to come forward so you can adjust the width of your stance. You know that. Bring yourself on down. Hands to a block of the floor. And then just bend your right knee. Stay there for a breath. Give your left inner thigh a bit of a time to release there. And then come on back through center and bend the left knee. Imagine the right foot's kind of pressing towards the outside edge of your mat there, so you're coming deeper into the inner thigh. And then come on back into center. Adjust your stance however you want to be, so that you can come into releasing your upper body. So remember, you've got blocks. You've got the blocks to put under your forearms, your head. You're more than welcome to support yourself so your back is long. You can always put your elbows above your knees. So especially if you don't have blocks, you can use your own body there to support yourself into a long back. And then just release into your breath. Let your face go. See if you can feel your inhales and your exhales evening out like they're equally important. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to walk our hands back out so we can walk back to our left foot. We're going to come on back into lunge. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Walk to the tops of the feet a couple of times. Press into the top of your feet, out into the top of the toes or the toenails really. And once you get your feet a little more adjusted, come on back to your full dog, and we're going to come on out to plank. We're going to try to do that thing where we lower our knees, lift our feet up. We're on the flesh above our knees. We're going to try to do a little push-up. So you can go down and then back up. You can go just a tiny little bit. You can stay in that half plank if you want. But if you want to do a couple more little push-ups, do. We are going to end up all the way down. So once you get ready to come all the way down to the floor, come on into either your up dog or your cobra, or totally up to you. You can do Sphinx if you'd rather. Let yourself come into a back bend of choice. And then we'll release to come on back down. We're going to make our way back into down dog from there. And let's bring our right foot forward and come into lunge. And then come on back into your standing forward bend. Stay for a breath there. Let yourself release and breathe. Feel the weight of your torso. Let your head turn a little side to side. Good. And then bring your hands down. We're going to come back to dog. So whether you decide to walk or jump, come on back into your downward facing dog pose. And this time we'll bring the right foot forward to come into warrior two. So take your time as you come on back forward with that right foot. Line up your heels. Line up that front knee. So remember, as you bring your right hand to your thigh there, imagine that outer right hip dropping down. And then rise that left arm up overhead. Turn your palm in towards the midline of your body so the left arm, the back arm is up. And then from there, as you start to lower the arm, turn your head so you can look right out over the top of that left hand. Now stay here for a second so that you can imagine getting this timing. So that when you do start to think of floating your right arm up and turning your head, you're going to try to make it the same time that the arm gets up to where you want to look out over it. Your head is turned to look. So there you are, pressing the feet away from each other, reaching out through both sets of fingertips. Feeling that sense now of hips being very open. We're going to fold our left arm behind us here now. Turn our right palm up and inhale, reach up into your reverse warrior. Couple of breaths into the right ribs. Feel the ribs expand as you inhale. Good. One more inhale. And on the next exhale, we'll come into that side angle. Keep your left hand behind you if you can. You can turn your palm out. You can be on your right hand or forearm. Press into that hand or forearm and feel length through the underside of the body. And then open that left shoulder so you can just lay your left arm down on the side of your body. And then we'll trail the hand. Fingertips up by, past the ribs, past the front of your shoulder, past your ear. Start to extend that arm up as long as your shoulder allows you to. Let the pinky turn down of that top hand so your shoulder is coming down away from your ear. Beautiful. Length through both sides of the body. Very nice. One more breath into your back ribs if you can. And then we're going to come on back to warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. Good. We're going to lower our hands down, turn our feet again to more parallel. And again, grab your blocks if you need them as you come forward. So coming on forward, be mindful. Let yourself either have hands on blocks or the floor. Bend a knee at a time, kind of a little more quickly. Let yourself just ease your way into a little bit of movement. And then come on back to both legs equal, whether they're bent or straight, and let's walk our hands over towards the right. Doesn't matter whether you go all the way to the foot or ankle or stay out in front of the foot or have your hands on blocks. But just breathe. Let it be easy. And then we'll walk back through center. We're going to go the other side. Again, you might just want to shift your block a little to the left. You might want to make your way towards your foot or hold on to the outside of your ankle. Good. And then we'll walk back into center again. And now from here, see if you can walk your hands out. You can be on blocks, but like you're coming out to a plank. So your feet are really wide, but you're going to walk forward like you're coming out to a plank. Engage your belly a little bit here. It's okay if your bottom's up in the air a bit, okay? You can bend your elbows if you want. Let yourself do a little push-up or two. And then we'll walk back again into our wide-legged forward bend. Take your time. If you're able to put your hands up on your back and clasp them, you might try that for a couple of breaths. You might even want the arms to come off the back. Or use support if you need, and you know that. Don't have yourself into anything that disturbs your back. And then just let yourself release to wherever feels good to stay with your breath. So whether you're doing the traditional pose with the hands between your feet, shoulder distance apart, elbows hug in, shoulders come away from your ears, or maybe you feel better to have your hands forward, your back long. But just breathe in and out. from here, we're going to walk our hands back out enough so we can come back to our right foot and come on back into lunge. And we'll make our way back into down dog. From dog, you're on your own this time. You can come out for a plank and move through to a back bend, or if you choose, you can put your knees down, rest in child's pose, stay in dog if you'd rather, move to the plank without the back bend, let yourself come into some core strength here. Take your time. Good. And then we'll meet back in down dog. And this time, we're going to bring our left foot forward. We're coming up from warrior one. You can have your blocks handy. In fact, you might want them for sure. Get yourself established as you start to rise up and feel the hands come forward a little bit. Turn your palms up, but imagine you're just kind of reaching forward like about towards the corners of the mat. So the arms aren't real wide. They're forward, their palms are up. You can start to bring your gaze forward and just be really released here. Enjoy. And now, as you start to keep the arms flowing up, turn the palms towards it to face each other more. Come on into your warrior one, lifting your gaze up a little bit if you can. Feeling that lift at the base of your shoulder blades. Feel the feet equal in the floor. Arches lifting up. Let the pinkies turn slightly more inward so you feel even more space between your ears and your shoulders. One more breath. And then we're going to lower our arms down. We're going to straighten this left knee out and get this right hip pointer around where you're square. If you have to adjust your stance, do. And then put your hands behind you for a little bit. Start to come forward. Now, you may only want to go a couple of inches with your hands back like this. Thighs are lifting up. Think of drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other with your belly. You can go as far forward as you want without your hands, or you can stay up. Just let the legs work. Feel that sense of space in the knees. And then when you're ready to lower your hands down, they can be any height on the blocks or on the floor, totally up to you. If you need to adjust your stance a little bit when you get down because you feel a little cockeyed, do. And just enjoy here. Nice full breaths. Lengthen out through the torso here. And then if you feel like it feels even better to fold over your front leg, do it. And now come on back up to where you're lengthened through your spine now, over that front leg. And let your left hand come to your left hip. We're going to roll that left shoulder up, palm down onto your low back, into revolved triangle here. So take your time. Really enjoy feeling that sense of reaching back through your tailbone. One more breath. And then we'll release and come on back down. From here, bend that front knee. Find your lunge here for a second. And then we're going to come on back into downward facing dog pose. Walk a little bit to the tops of your toes. And of course, come on out if you want for some vinyasas or kriyas. Again, it is totally optional. Very much optional whether you do these or not. Put your knees down and rest if you need to. Good. We'll finish off and meet back in down dog. And from here, we're going to come to the other side. Right foot's going to come forward, coming up for that warrior one. So again, have your blocks handy. Bring yourself on into shoulders around square. Once you reach your arms forward, turn your palms up. Think about again that they're coming hands kind of towards the corners of the mat there, the front corners. And shoulders are really square. Bring your gaze forward. And then keep rising the arms up, and eventually the palms turn towards each other once they get up, if your shoulders let you. See if you can bring your gaze up a little bit. Feel the feet in the floor, arches lifting up. Really enjoy, imagine your arms are growing out of your back. One more breath. And now as we lower our arms down here, we're going to straighten that front leg. If you need to adjust your stance to get your hips around square, do. And then let your hands come behind you. And start to feel your thighs engaging upwards as you come forward. Again, it might be 2 inches. So the pelvis starts to tilt, the tailbone starts to end up reaching directly behind you. Thighs engage upward. One more breath. If you haven't put your hands down, try to make it through one more breath. And then go ahead and let your hands come down, whatever height you want to be. Once the hands come down, adjust again if you need your stance. Now feel the belly working. Think about drawing your hip pointer bones towards each other. Feel your thighs lifting up, back heel fully on the floor. You can fold over that front leg now if it feels good. And now come back up, more parallel to the floor. So we can add this twist for the revolved triangle. Right hand up to your right hip and starting to roll that right shoulder up and draw that outer right hip back. Let yourself feel your sit bone drawing back. Try to keep that levelness there in your sacrum. One more breath here. And then we'll bring the hand on back down. We're going to bend the front knee. Find lunge again. Let yourself release into that lunge. And we'll come back to down dog. Once you're in dog, do whatever you need. Last vinyasas or kriyas if you want to do any. Doesn't mean you have to, right? You can take your time, put your knees down if you'd rather, and rest. Move through for back bends or come to plank. Just be mindful. Good. And then from here, meet back in down dog. Hug your elbows towards each other. We're going to come forward. Whether you jump or walk to the front of your mat is up to you. Let yourself come on forward, feet underneath you. Come into your standing forward bend, however you choose. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. For a second, sit back into a little chair pose. That doesn't have to be deep. It can if you want. You can go deeper and deeper and deeper. That's up to you. Feel your thighs engaging. Let your legs feel nice and strong here. Feel your hips. And then slowly start to grow back up into your mountain pose. Feeling the feet in the floor. Bringing your gaze on forward and out. Good. And then letting your arms come on down and shake out a little bit. Move around however you need to. And we are going to bring our mats to a wall. So letting the short edge of your mat come into a wall. And bringing your left hand towards the wall at first. We're going to come into the tree pose. So take your time. Get your left foot set. So that when you do bring your right foot, whether it comes in above or below your knee is up to you. If you like bringing the foot up high, you can always use your right hand to grab that ankle and pull the heel up as high as you can get it. And then start to engage the foot into your inner leg. Your inner leg coming back into your foot. If bringing the hands to the heart feels really good to you, perhaps rising the arms up overhead feels good, just play for a minute. Find your tree pose the way you need. Use the wall whenever you need it. Keeping that gaze, and of course if you start to lose it, you need to put your foot down, just do that. Reposition, come back. Focus in again. Good. So one more breath here. And then we're going to lower that right foot down, turn to face the wall, walk back into down dog with your hands at the wall. So hopefully you're endeavoring to get a 90-degree angle at your hips. And if that isn't possible, stay up higher with your hands so your torso is up, but you're still long through your torso. And you might want your feet a little closer together. Right leg is going to be the post leg, and we're going to lift the left leg up into warrior three. Turning the toes down so that you feel that hips are really staying square. Pinky toe faces down. Arms press, hands are pressing equally into the wall, elbows are hugging equally in towards each other. One more breath here. And then bringing that foot down, we're going to walk towards the wall, and we're going to turn our right hand into the wall. Right foot is the post leg for our tree this time. So again, you bring that left foot in. Whether you like it to be above or below your knee, just make sure you're not pressing into the inside of your knee. And then find your focal point. Decide if you want your arms to be really easy. I mean, you can just let your arms hang if you want, so you're not even using your arms. Or you can rise them overhead. You can have your hands at your heart. You can play with hands behind you if you choose. And again, if you lose your balance, you need to touch the wall. You need to put the foot down and put it back up. Do. One more breath. And then as we come down, again, we're going to turn to face the wall. Walk back towards your down dog. Remember, if your wrists bother you, you can do fists. If coming into that really intense angle there at the wrist bothers you, do fists on the wall or be up higher. Feet a little closer together. Remember, you're going to stand on your left leg and lift your right leg up. Pinky toe of that right foot faces down. Engage your belly. Hug your elbows towards each other. Feel as equal as you can between the sides of your body. Good. Nice. Good alignment. So one more breath there. And then let yourself release. Come on down. Turn around with your back to the wall. And come right on down into child's pose with your toes back to the wall. And you can release your hips here. Now, you know you can stay forward somewhat if you need. If you're fine to shift your hips all the way back, do. See if you can let yourself be soft in your arms, whether they're overhead or back alongside your legs. And breathe into your low back. Good. And now, just play a little bit here. If you know that being on your hands with a down dog, heels up the wall, just doesn't sound good at all to your wrists, you can come right onto your forearms if you'd rather. So you get to choose whether you want to come up to all fours and back into your down dog with heels up the wall, or be on your forearms in your dolphin. So that is up to you. Play where you choose. You know, if you don't like sending a leg up the wall, just don't do it. You can keep both feet on the floor, still inverted, you know. You can lift a leg, you can walk your feet up the wall both at the same time if you want. And you know you rest when you want as well. Rest when and how you want, right? Good. Come down, rest if you haven't already. We are going to come around to sitting. So when you do feel like you're okay to come on up and around to sitting, do. And take your time. Just stretch your legs out in front of you for a second. And let your feet do what they want to do. Do little windshield wiper blades if you want, little leg bounces if you want. And then we're going to bend both our knees and let ourselves shift back a little bit. And let yourself, as you open your chest here, you can hold behind your thighs, you can hold on the front of your knees if you want. Just imagine here now, the belly is really engaging, and so is the low back. Before you even think about floating your feet up into a little boat pose. So you can flex the feet, feel the outside edges of your big toe mounds pressing together. You can stay right here holding on. Hold on to your legs. There's a lot going on right here. Doesn't matter whether you let go of your legs or not. If you feel like you want to let go, sometimes it makes your hip flexors grip a little too much, but that, you can play with it. You can play with your legs straightening out too, with yourself holding on to them, if that feels good. Or sometimes just one. You can do one leg and then the other, which really is kind of fun if you're holding and you let one leg and then the other go long. Feel how your belly is keeps kind of trying to figure out what it's doing. Feels good though. So just play a little bit. Let yourself come into your boat where you choose. You can hold your legs up towards you if you want to. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to bend our knees, bring the soles of our feet towards each other, and come into Baddha Konasana. Now you know how big your space is here is totally up to you and how you're built in your hips. Grab blocks if you want, put them underneath the outside of your legs. If you feel like your hips are gripping, then sometimes support here can make all the difference in the world. You can help yourself open your hips a little deeper. Especially if your knee feels a little iffy or your hip. That support can be helpful. But sit up nice and tall. Try to hold on either to your shins or your ankles. Try not to grab your toes and lift them up so that you sickle your feet like that. Instead, let the feet be back into the floor. And then come forward just a little tiny bit. Maybe it's more like a ½ an inch, right? Think of coming forward from your low back. And if that feels good and you feel like you want to continue on forward, by all means do. Take your time. Good. One more breath here. And then we're going to slowly come all the way back up. Let your hands come on out beside you here now. You can even rest them on your knees if you want. Inhale here. And on the exhale, we're going to twist to our left. So bring yourself around. It's not a really deep twist. Your right hand might want to come onto your feet, or it might want to come over to that left shin or something, or to the knee, depending on where your feet are, really. Let yourself lengthen up. One more inhale. And on the exhale, move back through center. See if you can feel that swiveling, that twist right in the middle of the spine as you come around to the other side. Good. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you on back around. We're going to bring our knees on up and bring our hands back. Now, you may decide you want your hands to turn out about 45 degrees towards the wall behind you, or you may want to turn your fingertips forward, right? To think about lifting your chest, or if possible, lifting your hips up into that 4-footed table. Now, if your shoulders bother you doing this one, don't do it. Don't lift your hips up. Let your hips stay down and maybe turn your hands out to open your chest, right? If you're lifted up and you feel pretty good with that, you can bend the elbows a little bit. Oh, that's right. This is fun. You're probably going to be real mad tomorrow, though, because it's all the tricep work we've done today. If you have your hands up on blocks like we did at the beginning, and you bend your elbows here, like you do if you do those on a stair, right? Have you ever done these on a stair? where after you do about 5 of them, you're really sorry the next day. But, you know, very strengthening. So when your hands are up higher, it's a lot easier to let yourself bend your elbows and come back. But turn your fingertips forward if you can, instead of backward. And when you've had enough, because like I said, you'll be really mad tomorrow, bring yourself on around. Circle I like to encircle a wrist with one hand and squeeze my wrist and then wiggle my fingers around. But, you know, you can do whatever feels good. Circle through your wrist, make fists and circle through, shake it out. And then see if you can kind of swing your arm so that one arm crosses on top and then the other, and you just alternate. Let yourself release a little bit there. Good. And we're going to come down onto our backs on the floor. So come on down, take your time, get yourself down onto the floor, bring your knees in towards your chest. Let yourself, if it feels good, you can even curl up into a little ball. And then let your feet eventually come on back down to the floor and set up for a little bridge pose, right? Now, you can decide whether you want to work really hard in bridge pose today, or maybe you feel better to get a block and let yourself release into supported bridge, either on one block, lowest height, or one block, second height, or 2 blocks stacked up to their lowest height if you want to be really high. And if you prefer to move up and down on a bridge, do. If you prefer to stay in your bridge, just remember, you shouldn't feel bridge in your back. You know, you're going to feel your thighs. Your shoulders are rolled under, so no part of your spine is pressing into the floor. Feel the back of your head gently pressing into the floor. It's not harsh. You just don't want your chin to lift up, but you also don't want the chin to sink down into your chest. So you know, if you need to come down out of bridge, you do it. If you like to stay and stay supported for a little while, do that. I'm just going to start to get some light so it gets a little calmer feeling in here. Thank you. Good. And now when you're ready to come down out of that bridge pose, be really mindful. Come on down. Once you get down, let your right knee come in towards your chest and extend your left leg down long on the floor. And bring your left hand over to that right knee. Stretch your right arm out beside you and just draw the knee across into a twist. Only as deep as you want to go. Maybe just across the chest a little bit. Maybe you want to keep descending that leg all the way over towards the ground there beside you. Just be mindful. If you'd rather stretch the right leg out long, you can, or you can keep the knee bent. Good. And then bringing that right knee back into the chest. Let yourself bring your right hand right below your knee and put your left hand on the top of your left, like right where your leg connects to your torso. Take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, lift your head up. Slide your left hand down your thigh a little bit. Let yourself just stay for a breath there. You're holding on with your right hand. And then release to come on back down. Bring your left knee on into your chest and stretch your right leg down long on the floor. Flex through both feet. Feel the left leg coming into your hands. And then let the right hand stay on that left knee. Stretch your left arm out beside you, and your right hand will draw the knee across the midline. Again, how far over you go, totally up to you. Take your time. Let your left shoulder stay released down into the floor. Whether you like to stretch that left leg long or keep the knee bent. Good. One more breath. And then easily come back into center. Bring both your hands back to your knee or below there. And then put your right hand on the top of your right hip again. And as you exhale, lift your head up. Slide your right hand down your thigh a little bit. Let yourself really just enjoy releasing. And then slowly let yourself come on back down to the floor. Bring your right knee in to join your left. And circle your knees around a little bit or go side to side. Or if you'd rather lift up the feet for a little happy baby pose, do that. Start to follow what your body needs to do right now. And that could be anything. I mean, if you need to do a plow pose, do a plow pose. If you need to let yourself move through in any other way, do anything else at all. Doesn't have to be a traditional yoga pose, it can be. I'm going to start to walk around here and bring things. And for those of you here, and it is a cold day, I do believe the heat is working again though, so that's a good thing. I can bring blankets and bolsters. If you're at home, if you need to support underneath your knees, because your back feels better that way, then put some support underneath your knees. It can be blocks or it can be a rolled up blanket. Just be mindful, letting yourself get comfortable. And anybody here, if you need anything, wave at me. The idea of a little bit of cover, or see some people putting socks on. Yeah, the floor is cold. Those of you at home, for some reason my phone is losing battery today. I don't know what is going on. So I'm going to let you all stay as long as you can in Shavasana there at home. Know that I'm going to go ahead and finish off here and close out, but when you feel like you're ready to come back from Shavasana, really take your time.